Released just before M1 hit the scene in 2020, the 2019 16-inch MacBook Pro is often overlooked as a usable laptop these days, but the prices of these machines have hit absolute rock bottom in 2025. At release, you'd be looking at £3,500 or US dollars for a top-spec i9 2019. Absolutely insane price, but it came with some of the best parts that could fit into a laptop back then. Fast forward to now, and there are top-spec i9 models going for just £375 on eBay. The price of these Macs has gone down by almost 90% in 5.5 years, and we've never seen anything like it. Apple Silicon MacBooks are of course considerably more powerful these days. They shine when it comes to efficiency, keeping cool when you need them to the most. They also have more cores and are probably going to be supported for several more years than any MacBook with an Intel processor. But here's the thing. 16-inch MacBooks with Apple Silicon chips on board cost around £800 these days. That's over double what you could spend on a 2019 Intel laptop. Of course, I'm a huge fan of the M1 MacBook Air, which is available for about £400 these days. It has a super powerful processor and is an absolute trooper for its size. But some people might just be better off going with the Intel 16-inch Pro from 2019. If you need a lot of storage, this thing starts with 500GB at minimum. They can easily be found with 1 or 2 TB drives inside too, for hardly more than the £300 to £400 price tag I mentioned earlier. The market for these things lies dead in the water right now, and it seems many are trying to get rid of these for whatever low price people will pay them. Apple Silicon MacBooks with a terabyte or more of storage will set you back £500 to £600, which is a significant step up. The 2019 16-inch has PCIe-based NVMe storage like the newest MacBook Pros do, and it's very close to as fast. It might be going on 6 years old, but you won't be let down by this laptop when it comes to storage. As I mentioned, if you want a 16-inch screen on your Apple Silicon Mac, you'll have to pay over £800 right now. These 2019 Intel machines have 16-inch screens at a fraction of the price, and they're really superb. The display resolution is 3072 by 1920 on this one, which looks crisp from all angles. It goes up to 500 nits of brightness too, which is pretty good for a screen of this size. You will have to cope with just a 60Hz refresh rate though, as there's no ProMotion on the 2019 MacBooks. The colours on Apple displays are always top notch, since they know people who work in visual arts rely on them. This display is no different, and I have to say it's a real spectacle to look at, whatever's on your screen. On the topic of audio-visual matters, the speakers in the 2019 16-inch Pro are absolutely top notch. We're all used to hearing about how good the latest MacBook speakers are, but this model truly paved the way for them. It's a 6-speaker surround sound array, which makes you feel like you're in a room surrounded by speakers when you're in front of the laptop. Very few laptop companies are capable of engineering sound quite like this from such a small device, and it's just another reason why that low price is looking so compelling right now. Time to talk about processors though. The top spec CPU you can get on this MacBook is the 2.4 GHz Intel i9 with 8 cores. Those sell for about £375 if you can find a good deal, as I mentioned. But there are several other CPU options available, some of which go for considerably lower prices. The base model 2019 16-inch came with a 6-core Intel i7. The starting price was £2,300 or US dollars, and these days they're up on eBay for sometimes under £300. I don't have to tell you that this is madness. The i7 chips inside these are by no means squeak. You're looking at 2.6 to 4.5 GHz clock speeds, 6 physical cores and 12 threads. It has to be said, base model M1 MacBooks come with 8 CPU cores. They also score a lot higher in benchmarks, meaning their performance is stronger when it comes to things like video editing and other CPU intensive tasks. That's the problem. You can't have everything in one MacBook if you're looking to spend under $500. The performance is great on M1 MacBook Airs, so I'd probably choose one of those right now. But the 16-inch 2019s are genuinely cheaper and offer things you can't get from a base MacBook Air. The 16-inch screen, beefier speakers, more storage, and 4 ports. Oh yeah, on the topic of ports, this MacBook isn't the best for them, but it certainly isn't the worst. There's only one type of port on board, and that's USB-C Thunderbolt. There are 4 of them though, and charging is possible through each port, regardless of the side, and they're Thunderbolt 3 compatible. It would be nice to have USB-A or HDMI or even an SD card reader, but that's just not what Apple were about in 2019. Things could be worse, as the M1 MacBook Air and MacBook Pros only have 2 USB-C ports, which can start to cause issues. Worse still, the 12-inch Retina MacBooks from 2015 to 17 only had 1 USB-C non-Thunderbolt port, which really put a spanner in the works for anyone trying to use more than one accessory at once. Apple have come a long way since those days, thankfully. It really is a situation of compromise when you're choosing between low-budget MacBooks like these at the moment. Another reason to consider the 2019 16-inch though is the capability it has of running other operating systems natively. Windows 10 can be installed on this laptop on a separate partition of the main boot drive, and it doesn't have to go through any translation layers or emulation software like on Apple Silicon Macs. Apple even offers an app to install Windows 10 with built into macOS. Boot Camp Utility Tool takes you straight through it. Once Windows is installed, you're free to use your laptop exactly how you would a regular Windows laptop. You can run games and all sorts of Windows-only software. Gaming is actually not a bad experience either, thanks to the dedicated graphics cards on board. Apple offered several different GPUs on the 2019 16-inch Pros, going from the Radeon Pro 5300M right up to the Pro 5600M, the latter of which came with 8GB of dedicated video memory. Those reasonably capable video cards make it a respectable gaming laptop in Windows, and a decent 3D rendering workstation in macOS. It might not have the kind of CPU and GPU power that the recent MacBook Pros do, but it's a jack of all trades. You can't run all of your regular PC games through Steam on an M4 MacBook Pro. So that's the now compellingly priced 2019 16-inch MacBook Pro. I thought I'd finished making videos on this Mac for a while, but given the recent drop in pricing, I decided it was worth another look. If you're after raw power to get through edits in Final Cut or Premiere Pro on a budget like me, it might be best to look elsewhere, as M1 MacBooks are objectively more powerful and able to complete those tasks. If you're after a bigger film-watching laptop, something to browse the internet on, or a MacBook to play games on, this could be the one for you though. That screen is absolutely gorgeous, and remember, you can find these for under £300 right now, or about $400 given you can find some decent eBay listings. The ultimate used MacBook with a big screen and super high-end performance still is probably the 16-inch MacBook Pro from 2021, but like I said, those are still up at around the £800 mark, or a little above $1,000. Thank you very much for watching. Get subscribed if you're interested in older Mac hardware, and if you want to contribute financially to the channel, there's a link to my Patreon membership in the description, which starts at $2.99. The What's on Your Screen Discord server link is there too, so if you fancy talking in depth about Macs or computers in general, get involved. Subscribers, I'll see you next week.